What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. XS Trixie, and I'm back with another video. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Garmin 695. And I know it's the old watch 2023, but I have recently been trying to get into more fitness, and I'll kind of go what kind of happened in the past or what led me up to this. But let's kind of get into the why. So the Garmin 695 Forerunner is what it says, really for running. But that the name brand has kind of just came from more what they used to track versus what they do now. Like you can do tracking, swimming, cycling, all on one watch. So it's not just really meant for running. You can do multiple workouts on one watch. And I've seen it be pretty good. I haven't tested it for work running, but we'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. But I have tested it for swimming. I've tested it for cycling inside at least. I've tested it for a treadmill run, racquetball. I've done basic strength training with it, some boxing with it. And, well, boxing is a caveat. Boxing is a little bit of caveat, and we'll talk about more what that caveat is. And I have some comparison to my current watch, which is the Samsung Galaxy Ultra. Now, I did have the Apple Watch Ultra, and I did a little bit of testing, but I don't really use my Apple Watch Ultra. I see all the hype about how it's one of the good watches. It's hard for me to recommend an Apple Watch Ultra when it's so locked down where once you get an Apple Watch Ultra, you can only have an Apple phone. You can't have no other phone, no other environment, no other ecosystem. It has to be Apple. And for some people, that works out because they don't really need all the glitz and glamour and they don't need all the options. I just like the option because you never know when you might want to change your phone, or you see a phone that might be really good and you're stuck on one platform because you have to sell your watch, your phone, and everything else. Well, not necessarily everything else, because I do own a Mac and an iPad, and I don't tie them to my phone or watch at all. So I guess you wouldn't have to sell everything, but if you was to go get rid of your phone and move to Android for whatever reason, you would have to also get rid of your watch because it would be useless to you at this point. But enough about the Apple Watch, and that was just my little rant on probably why it's not going to be in this video. So I'm going to have some data about this, but this is really going to focus on the Garmin. And not just the Garmin Forerunner. We also have the Garmin HVR Plus Pro strap. And this is not really a review for that because that's just a HR monitor strap that has shown to perform real good. And even for guys with bigger chests like mine, it was able to stretch across and it wasn't like pulling completely on my skin. So it worked out perfectly fine. I used it when I was in the swim pool. I used it when I was cycling. So it's perfectly fine. It works for those activities. So this watch, I wasn't like, not necessarily, I wasn't a not necessary fan of Garmin, but I just really didn't think about them. They were a fitness tracking sport watch that really focused on the fitness tracking. So this watch is mainly fitness. It does have some smart features, like it'll tell you when somebody's calling, messages, notifications, really basic stuff. Nothing to really blow your head off. There's no special icons, none of that crazy stuff. But what they do it very well. Up until this point, when I used to go to the gym, I would always have to do strength training. I select, like, especially in the Samsung, I would go and select the actual workout I'm doing. So if I'm doing lateral raises, if I'm doing arm extension, and if I'm doing curls, I select that workout, do the reps, and then it just counts it in. With the Garmin, and I just did notice, I chose I couldn't see like weight training, so I just called strength training, and it was able to identify every single workout that I did. So even when I was doing curls, it knew I was doing curls. It just knew what I was doing. And maybe people who have a Garmin are used to that, but that is freaking amazing to me. That was just kind of just blew my mind. And for the most part, everything else was really on par. When I went snowboarding and I started the snowboard app, which I had to start because it thought I was running initially and I wasn't, so I had to manually start the snowboard app. But once I started, it could tell when I was completely done with the last run and I was on the chairlift going back up. Because of the GPS, it was like, oh, he's moving slower, he's going back up. It would count it as a lap. Like, oh, you've done a lap. So snowboarding, great. Let's talk about swimming. When I was swimming, it would often, like, it was counting the lap just as good as the Samsung was. The Samsung did have some problems, but their problems wasn't real problems. What was happening was, because I was raising my arm, I was, just swimming, Samsung was kind of technically still connected to my phone. So when I had a call, it stopped really being able to count the laps I was going. And although I kept swimming, the Samsung was mainly focusing on receiving the Bluetooth signal from the phone. So even in the water, the Samsung Bluetooth signal did not cut out. You gotta give it to them, man. They designed a really good product that's really based in smart features with some fitness apps on it. You gotta give it to Samsung. They knew what they was doing. But in fairness, right? The Garmin never, at least this Garmin, is not trying to show itself to be a smartwatch. It's trying to show itself to be a fitness watch first. It just does it very well. The only, like, on the treadmill, it wasn't accurate, but nor was it Samsung, according to what I ran on the treadmill. So, you get the ability to adjust it, and it'll try to, like, adjust as you keep running on the treadmill to try to figure out your stride and everything necessary on the treadmill. But I will have to say, and here's one of the things why I'm really thinking about switching to Garmin, and we'll figure out at the end of the video if I do or not, but I'm really considering it. One other thing is the Samsung's external heart rate sensor that's compatible. There's not a lot that I would say brands I've ever heard of. I did go to the site and see some of them. A couple of them were in Chinese, so it wasn't a lot of brands I necessarily heard of. And when you look at Garmin and they have this HRV Pro Plus, you go, well, why would you need that? And here's what I figured out. In swimming, my heart rate was way off. I found it to be way more accurate with the chest strap monitor from Garmin. And the good thing is that this thing can pair with the phone, it can pair with your watch, it can pair with other accessories if you have something that's compatible with a heart rate monitor. Even when boxing and I have it on, I can start that workout on my phone through the Garmin Connect app, and then I just start working out, and I can track my heart rate, and lets me know whether the workout I thought I did as well as I think I did. Am I doing softer? Do I need to push harder? And those are all good metrics you can go by. Even, and I say this before, when I box, because these things are right there on my wrist and the glove is right there, it constantly hurts my wrist. So when I used the rings, that was way better than using a watch. Using this is for surely better than using a ring because there's nothing on my hands with the gloves. I'm just free and it's all up here on my chest. I'm able to move, groove. It poses itself a really good competitor. Speaking of the heart rate monitor, it has its own separate battery that you don't have to worry about when it's not on your chest to deactivate. When it is on your chest to activate, it is a really nifty tool. And speaking of battery life, the Garmin went a complete 7 days, 3 days of GPS tracking, and it still had 10% battery left at the end. I probably could have went snowboarding with it and went the whole day and still been fine. Maybe a little at the loose end, but still would have been fine. And that's what I mean. Garmin sells a multitude of brands for fitness. If that's what you're trying to focus on, that's what you're into, it does that. And for a big guy, this watch really kind of fills my wrist. Like I said, I could probably go for the bigger watches, the Epic, the Phoenix, they cost a lot more money. But for the money I pay for the size it is and the actual screen to body size, this is one of the bigger watch screen to body size. There are watches out there that are technically bigger, but the screen to body size is not the same. So you take that for what you will. So now that we've been talking about the pros of the Garmin 695 Forerunner. Let's kind of talk about some things that's really pushing me away. And one of those things is I've gotten really used to Samsung and how they display notification, your ability to choose what notifications you get, how they look, most ability to be able to respond to any notification, answering it on your phone, which is all smartphone features that, for the most part, makes your watch really more of a compatible an accessory to your phone, especially if you get LTE, which is an option on the Samsung. You can go bike riding, running, and not have to worry about carrying your phone because you'll have it on your wrist. And that's a huge benefit for some people who might not like taking their phones. Even if you're like Spotify or anything like that, you can use your watch to stream your music. Even if you download some YouTube playlists, you could still use the watch to do all of that. In terms of smart features, Samsung is. And the good thing is they work with Android. So if you happen to switch to another Android, it's great. But as I said, they do not work with Apple. Apple don't play well with Samsung. Samsung don't play well with Apple. Go figure. So a lot of the cons on this watch are really mainly focused on the fact that it's not a good smartwatch. And when you look at how much money you pay, you might be looking for something that's the better smartwatch and fitness watch. And I couldn't tell you that this is going to be that watch. But what I can tell you is that no matter what platform you're on, this watch will work. Whether you're on Apple or Android, you have no problem with this watch. It'll work perfectly fine. So now that we got the pros and cons out the way, let's kind of talk about what put me on this little journey real quick. So the reason I went for a Garmin, because I recently wanted to try to take my health to the next level and be a little more fit in terms of what I'm eating and how I'm working out. I've always wanted to do some form of a marathon. Clearly not a full marathon. I'm not that even close to there, but I would like to do a 5K. I want to do it this summer, and I would like to run it in less than 30 minutes. So with that in mind, I uploaded my goals to Garmin, and I'll probably be dragging you along if you somebody who follow me with my YouTube shorts on my journey to get into 5K in 30 minutes. Ideally, my goal is to reach that by June 30th and to join an event in mid-August or July, maybe a day that's not super hot, something official with a time barrier and everything. And this HR strap, along with this Garmin watch, hopefully it can help me reach my goal. It can give me more of an insight and idea of what pace I need to have, even though I know I need to do a mile and basically do every mile in under 9 minutes. I just think with the Garmin and their accessory, there's a lot more to it. Because let's say if I wanted to do the bike ride, there's accessory for the bike ride that works just within the Garmin app. And I know people talk about how, you can connect this app to that app, this app to that app. The reality for most of it is that Garmin has built an ecosystem that works with Apple or Android. And in that ecosystem, they have a various of devices that you can use to track a numerous of workouts. Right, your watch can be a device that tracks them all, does a good heart rate monitoring and everything, especially for what most people are doing. Unless you're extremely tracking, this heart rate monitor on the watch will be plenty for most people. You won't even have to go far. I wanted to track how much weight you're losing, which, clearly is a goal of mine, but I want to look for more than just weight loss. I would like to explore the ability to improve my physical fitness, to improve my mentality, and to improve my ability to do better, to push forward. And you get to use the button. Now, it is a learning curve, but it's one that I would say is truly worth it. Once you learn how the button work and everything, it is so worth it during the workout. Because like I said, that one button to do this, one button to start the lap, go down, check your metrics, and you start understanding that, you don't have to worry about those fingers being wet or slimy, trying to swipe back and forth. You don't have to worry about that. There's buttons that'll just help you do that. All right. So, is this watch big fella approved? Is this strap big fella approved? I would have to say yes. It is big fella approved. Garmin made a great device, a great wearable here for any size person. Because I've seen people with bigger, smaller size wrist wear rock it, and now you see a guy with a big wrist rocking. Now you know it's possible. To my big people out there, you know it's possible. Big hands, tall body, whatever. It's possible to do this, man. As you can see, it's not even on the end, and there's still like I can strap it down more. So like there's plenty of room on the initial band that you can use to open it up more if you got a bigger wrist than mine. So let's kind of talk about the future, right? I'm not completely sold on Garmin yet. I'm still going through the era, the trial and error, just wearing it. I do think it's gonna be my ultimate watch on my wrist. I'm not gonna be carrying two watches, even though sometimes I do. I only carrying two watches, so that means I'll primarily be rocking the Garmin. Most likely, if that changed, you'll see like a pinned comment telling you that changed. If you're interested in my journey to get to 5K in under 30 minutes, then stay tuned to this channel because I'll be posting more. So with that being said, like, subscribe, dislike if you dislike the video. And if you dislike the video, let me know down below why you dislike it. And until next time, I see y'all later. Peace.